All right, welcome to the closing beat, everybody. Hope you had a great day today. Stock market sure had a good day today, finishing out the month, of course, positive for the month. So I believe it was the best month since January. A lot of that coming earlier in the month. We'll go over that here in just a second. For our customers, I don't make a habit of sort of over promising things, but if you can make it tonight to our candlestick class, it's going to be good. I mean, really good. So if you're one of our customers, if you're just joining us at Jazz, what we do is every week we send out an email to a live class. It's a link that'll take you to a live class that we do. It's also recorded, so if you can't make it, you just click that link at any point and you can watch the class. We found that a lot of you like what's going on the charts that we talk about here. You want to know more. And so I really went over and above for this. I mean, we've got 25 slides. We try to make the classes short for you. But this one's going to be good. So if you can make it or you're interested in candlesticks, I rarely overhype something, but this one's going to be really good. So check it out if you get a chance, no problem. If you're not one of our customers at Jazz Wealth, we help with retirement investments. If you don't like where your current retirement investments are, you're not getting the help that you want, or you have no idea what's going on in there, well, consider moving it over to Jazz Wealth and have no idea what's going on over here. Only we'll teach you how things are going and, of course, update you along the way. One of the updates that we do, of course, is now. We talk about the stock markets to tell you what happened today. We go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. Lots of good today, okay? So the stock market's treating everybody fairly nicely tonight. Also, if you're one of our customers and you want this towel and you haven't gotten it yet, we just got another box in. We're starting to send those out now. But let me know. Send me an email that you want one. Happy to send it out to you to remind you when things get bad that it's really not that bad. All right, let's jump over to the charts here if I can make that switch. We'll start with the overall markets. On the screen, you see the Dow. It pulled back a little bit here over the past few days, but today recovered almost all of yesterday's losses. Positive day today. There's talk that the U.S. and China are working something out together, having some of those quiet conversations, as they should. It should not be in the public. You could kind of feel that, right? Because there was a lot of push, China this, China that, and then all of a sudden the president got quiet. He's very good at hitting hard and then backing off to let everybody do their job. So I think credit is due when it is due. We'll see if it is due, by the way. But the Dow basically pushing higher here ever so slowly. Typical summertime action, where now we're really getting into those days where it's sort of back and forth and you know, overall headed in the right direction. But I wouldn't be too surprised if things sort of quieted down here for the remainder of the summer. Although with our president, of course, you never know what to expect. So we'll hold our comments until we see what happens. Let's take a look over at the S&P 500 here on the screen. Same thing, it pulled back over the last few days. Today was a decent day. Still have some losses over the past 5 days to recover, but generally moving in the right direction. I'd even be okay if this thing continued to pull back a little bit. I think a lot of people would be okay with that, and so we'll see what happens there. The Nasdaq, of course, higher on the day. Tech recovering a little bit, and now Apple, after hours, reporting their earnings. They killed it. Apple did a great job on earnings, and they guided positive going forward, so the stock up nicely after hours. That's one of our positions in some of our portfolios, so we're very happy to see that. Also, if we look inside the Nasdaq, you have names like Twitter. You have names like Facebook. See how they're coming off those lows? We just talked yesterday about the possibility of people looking at that going, hey, that big drop is a discount. There has not been many opportunities for a discount on stocks or ETFs over the past 9 years, really. So when stocks have moves like this, they tend to grab some attention. You can see the buyers stepping in today on some of these tech names to try and pick the bottom, for lack of a better word. Even Netflix got a little bit of a bounce. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon was basically flat on the day, not much to say there. And then Google, or Alphabet, also flat on the day. But the Nasdaq looking like tomorrow's going to start strong, by the way, with this report from Apple. I should point out that the Russell 2000, if you follow along with that, we hint at it here and there when it sticks out today. That was your best performer in the overall markets. Great recovery in that one. We may talk about that one later in our candlestick charts class to try to show you some examples of how these things work. So looking forward to that. Okay. Going over the individual sectors, your best performer of the day was industrials, and that's those big names that are highly affected by the China trade tariff talk. So with good news there, a lot of those industrials, you got Caterpillar, you got Boeing moving higher, even John Deere a little bit. So all of those getting a good boost because of this positive China talk. So that was your best performing sector of the day. Real estate coming in second with a 1% gain, almost 2% gain, and utilities finally in third place there with a 1% gain on the day. Your weakest sectors of the day are telecommunications. That's normal. That's had a great run over the last few days. Look at something like AT&T is one of the ones we pointed out yesterday. Great moves over the past few days. Totally normal for these things to pull back and take a little bit of a break. Financials took the day off. Just a small decline there. I don't really have any positive or negative comments to say there. It was just an off day for them. Not too big of a deal. And in third place, energy, which if we go over to the price of oil, oil sold off 2.5% today. This makes the worst month for oil going back 2 years, I believe. So oil helping to hold back some of the energy names today. Not too big of a deal. Like we said, Caterpillar, one of the bigger names today to sort of reverse course at least a little bit, that having about a 3% gain on the day. Boeing was sort of flat and finished the day about 1.5% higher. That's good, of course. And then we mentioned, of course, John Deere with that we'll definitely talk about this one later. John Deere with the 5% gain on the day. So looking pretty good. Earnings continues to help the markets. Look, throughout the month, as these companies have reported earnings, we're at 58%, by the way, of the S&P 500 has reported earnings, and over 80% of them, pushing 85% of them, have reported earnings growth better than expected. And remember, analysts have set the bar really high, so far the market is not disappointing them. So looking really good. Let's go over to some stock-specific news today that you might see on TV or in the headlines. Chipotle. I don't like to talk bad about Chipotle, man. I love Chipotle. I have every opportunity in my life I go to Chipotle. I should probably buy stock in the company, but we have it in our dividend fund. But anyways, Chipotle lower by 7% today. They've got this food problem, man. Now, some of it is normal because they have such a big footprint, they're going to have issues. But you never see other companies having these issues. The last one I remember was the guy dying at Bob Evans from eating the meatloaf. And that was the only last one that made headlines. So Chipotle closing a store in Ohio after over 100 people got sick from eating there. That's not good. The store says they're on it. We've got it figured out. Chipotle's like, we're going to figure this thing out. Don't worry, we're going to get it fixed. Remember, they got a new CEO. They didn't pick me. Remember, going back a while ago, I actually applied. They did a video search for CEOs. I actually applied to be the CEO, made a cool little video. I didn't even get so much as a response from them. So obviously I'm not the CEO, but hopefully the new guy can make this problem go away. But that continues to haunt them. So the stock got hit pretty hard today and a lot of trading volume there. All right, Twitter. A little bounce on Twitter today, 1.5%. Here's the deal. We talked about this yesterday. When stocks sell off like that, it grabs attention. Now, the analysts are still expecting 21 to 25 as their new price targets in the mid to sort of long term for this stock. But today you had Nomura. Was it Nomura? Yeah, Nomura upgraded the stock, and they said that expectations have been appropriately reset and pricing is where it should be now, making this stock an attractive buy. That's their suggestion, not mine. And so you saw some buyers come into Twitter today taking their shot, listening to the analysts. That's cool. Procter & Gamble, a little bit higher today by 1%. They came out with earnings better than expected. Organic sales was the miss. So if anything sort of put the lid on what Procter & Gamble could have done today, it was the organic sales. Didn't come in where everybody was hoping. The stock was still up by about 1%. And keep in mind, we've been talking about the consumer staples stocks slowly trending higher. You see what's going on here? Compare the chart of the consumer staples stocks to Procter & Gamble. Wow, doesn't that look similar, huh? I wonder why. Well, Procter & Gamble makes up 12, almost 13% of the consumer staples sector, with Coca-Cola being the second biggest chunk of the XLP if you follow along, or any consumer staples ETF, most of them, I should say. So with both of those stocks pushing higher, things are looking good for consumer staples, and I'll continue to keep those comments about that sector rotation sneakily trying to come in there. Some other things today. CBS was downgraded. Look, the Leslie Moonves, the CEO of the company, he's been accused of sexual misconduct is kind of the way they put it there. And the board met yesterday and they said, you know what, we're going to hire some outside investigators. Let's see what really happened here before we do anything with Leslie. They decided he can stay. He can keep running the company for the meantime. And so, I don't know, investors like resolution, right? So if it becomes that he did something wrong, I bet the stock moves higher because they like resolution from problems. And right now it seems like they're sort of delaying the inevitable. They even delayed their meeting that they were going to have. It was supposed to happen next week. They've delayed that as well. So I think it could still be choppy here for this stock if you're following along. Pfizer came out with earnings. They beat nicely. The stock was up actually pretty aggressively. Let me see real quick. The stock added 3.5% on the day. It was the second best performer, just barely, in the Dow. So great move on Pfizer. Earnings better than expected. They said Xeljanz and what was the other one? Did I write it down? Prevnar. So their arthritis drug and that pneumonia vaccine, Prevnar, were the reasons to sort of attribute towards this beat. Interesting note, by the way. You ever wonder how they come up with the names of these drugs like Xeljanz and Prevnar or Tresiba? Some of these things, they sound like weird foreign language. Well, it's actually because you're not allowed to have a drug name that sounds like a normal U.S. English word because they don't want there to be any confusion or somebody thinking it's one thing versus the other. So not only do the drugs have to have different names that can't be related or sound similar, but they can't even sound like a actual English word. Pretty cool. I thank Mrs. Tibbetts for sharing that with me, the wifey. Okay, let's move on. CLAC, KLA10 Core. If you're a day trader, swing trader, you know this stock. Well, the stock was higher by 10.5% today. They supported the semiconductors. Really big help for the semiconductors today because the semis were lower on the day. But revenue came in better than expected. And if you look at this company closely, they have a 20% net profit margin. I think only Intel beats them on their net profit margin. So pretty good there if you're a fundamental trader. They're doing pretty good. Kroger down 2.5% today. They took the old page from a Trump playbook here. They said, hey, in 21 of our stores and 5 gas stations, we are not going to accept Visa cards because we disagree with their fees. The fees are too high. So, you know, Visa will probably respond to this, but the stock was down by 2.5% today because you can't go getting rid of Visa. Visa obviously knows that, but you can't go getting rid of them and expect your business not to suffer a little bit. Interestingly, Visa didn't really move at all on the day. So that's that. That's what I have for the stock market today. A couple other things that are just crossing the wires here. Molina Healthcare higher by almost 20% after reporting earnings. Huge move. That'll take it to new all-time highs. And there was Athena Health. They reported earnings better than expected as well, much better actually, and they're up about 2.25%. So the healthcare stocks, even despite what Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, and Amazon are working on, they continue to crush it, which means you're paying more, of course. Hopefully they figure that out. And we mentioned Apple. Yeah, Apple killing it here after hours. Looking pretty good. So that's basically what I have for you as far as the stock market goes today. Is there any questions? There are some questions. Dustin, Chipotle, come to Texas, man. Have some real food. I was just in Texas, and I had the biggest slab of ribs that I've ever seen in my life. Not just the ribs, but the bones, man. They were gnarly. So had a little experience in Texas. I'm also from Texas, so I get the gist of what you're, I smell what you're cooking, basically. I should tell Chipotle that if I had to hire it, I was going to take care of it, right? I think I pointed it out in the deal that part of them with this turnaround plan was to maybe have me, the new CEO, just go to all the stores and eat at every one of the stores and do a live video from every one of them to kind of show that I'm not scared of it. Thank God I didn't do that. I got sick in Ohio, huh? All right, so that's what we have for you today. Hey, if you're one of our customers, no joke, it's going to be a good class tonight, and you know I never say that, so looking forward to it. I'm going to go finish up the slides for that. I put together a ton of slides, man, so we'll make it quick. By the way, if it's your first one and you're just joining us to our Wine and Wealth for our customers there, the idea is that by the time I finish a glass of wine, I will teach you something. So I often never stop to drink the wine. I'm going to try to change that because it's sort of like fun for me, right? But the idea is that that's about how long the class will be. We don't want to take up much of your time. Understanding you got a lot going on. So we'll see you later today. If you're not one of our customers, check us out. If I've helped you in any way, hit the subscribe button and turn the little bell on if you want to know when these daily live updates go live and we'll help you from there. So enjoy it. Talk to you guys later.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.